Okay, how about that rally? Thank you, Leo. I was terribly off. I told Leo the over-under on his cuss words was 3 last night at the bar, and I had to pay that bet about 5 minutes into your speech, so I'll make sure that Bill Burga in Venice, Florida understands it was 8, and he'll say, why not more?
I was trying for 10.
So, let me say something about that rally. First of all, thank you all that were there. Rob Portman was invited by the Koch brothers to speak to that group. And when I found that out, and I found out that the Americans for Prosperity had on their agenda that day to make sure that the people coming to that, the sheep that were being led into that convention, understood how to pass right to work, how to take away prevailing wage and Davis-Bacon law. And I sent Senator Portman a letter, and I said, you may not know this, but you've been invited to speak at their convention, and here's what they're going to be training their people to do. And you ought not go. I shared that letter with our executive board. And we all need to understand that Rob Portman was at that convention. Rob Portman is trying to act like this is an election year conversion. We've seen it before, right? He seems to want to be talking about issues to help us, but he has not been there for us. And he was at that convention hall that we stood outside those doors and said, not here, not in Columbus, Ohio, not our American dream. That's the Rob Portman you need to know about. So, Leo, again, I thank you and all of our speakers so far. I provided a report in the officer's report. You can read it at your leisure. I often talk about the wealth inequality in this country and the corporate CEOs and policy and economics, but we got 49 days, as Leo said, to get this election right. And I'm going to talk about politics and electoral work, and this convention is really going to be focused on that. Now, I'm going to talk about why this election is so important, who we're supporting and why, and how we're going to win. Let me just say, we have a tremendous opportunity. Leo, in my adult lifetime, I haven't seen our issues be at the forefront like they are right now. Working family issues, trade, raising wages, all the things that we fought for workers to be able to come together and have a voice at the workplace. The American people are on our side on all the issues we've been fighting so hard for ever since the National Labor Relations Act, and they started to peel those back after World War II. We are on the right side of history, sisters and brothers. Yes, go ahead. We're on the right side of history. And when we say, I'm saying it's a watershed election, it's because we have an opportunity with the candidates such as Hillary Clinton that is not just giving lip service about all the issues because it's an election year and she thinks that's what voters want to hear. She's lived that life. She understands the policy. Donald Trump, on the other hand, is just telling us things he thinks voters want to hear, and we need to understand that his entire life, Donald Trump has only worked to enrich himself. Now, we've got the 4 pillars of the program that we've got to do. If we do anything coming out of this convention, it's to go on that wall in the hallway and sign up for shifts. We need to come out of this convention to make sure for the next 49 days that's going to happen. So the walks, the phone banks, the work sites, and the local union mail has got to happen. My job that I'm fortunate enough to have is to make sure that program is in place. And the program works. It's tried and it's tested. And when we talk to our people one at a time, working families, union sisters and brothers, they trust us as messengers of the truth. And we are able to persuade them, if they need it, to vote the right way. That program is in place and moving. I've got to then make sure all the labor leaders in the state of Ohio Ohio. We're pushing volunteers and relief staff into that program, and we're going out and getting earned media. So I did a 6-city press tour, and I said we really need to get the blue-collar unions at the very top level in Ohio to make sure so Ohio workers understand that this is about the fight for the American dream. And who better to tell that story than the head of the steelworkers in Ohio, Dave McCall, and the head of the state building trades in Ohio, Dennis Duffy, and the head of the auto workers in Ohio, Ken Lortz. So we embarked on a 6-city tour to make sure that people understood where these important union leaders are on this election. And what we had to say in this election and about these candidates is a couple things. The first thing we said is Donald Trump is unfit for the presidency. Anybody who makes racist, sexist comments, disparages veterans and Gold Star families, mocks those with disabilities, anybody that does that is unfit for the presidency, and we will lose our moral authority to lead in the world, sisters and brothers, should that happen, and we can't let it happen. Donald Trump will tear this country apart, we said in those press conferences, at a time when we need to come together and work on the most pressing issues that we have socially, economically, and yes, even national security measures. We need somebody that can pull people together, not try to play on our fear and divide us through fear and hate and divisions. Donald Trump, sisters and brothers, will tear this country apart at the seams. And lastly, we said he'll make things harder for working people. Donald Trump says he likes workers, he just doesn't like to pay them. His business model is we're going to build our buildings and our properties and our casinos, and we're going to have arrangements with the contractors. And when we get done building them, well, we're going to talk to the contractors and say, we're not going to pay you with what we agreed to. That is his business model. As a result, the contractors have a choice: settle for pennies on the dollars or get stuck in litigation and get out-lawyered by Donald Trump, and they end up losing money. Contractors have gone bankrupt. And what happens when contractors don't get paid? Electricians don't get paid. Carpenters, plumbers, pipe fitters, sheet metal workers, iron workers don't get paid. Sisters and brothers, that's his business model. That doesn't sound like a working class hero to me. What about wages? Don't take my word for it. He was on Morning Joe, MSNBC, said, I think wages are too high in America. What's his jobs plan for America? Well, we got to take these good, high-paying factory jobs out of Cleveland and Toledo and Detroit and move them down south where the workers down there won't demand so much in wages. Then we can compete globally. We've got to drive down wages to compete globally. That's what Donald Trump has said. Fights organizing. John Lyle, AFSCME, Joe Regola, Chris Mabe. AFSCME had their convention out in Las Vegas. They went over to the hotel where the workers there voted for a union, and Donald Trump is ignoring that. And he's up on labor charges as a result. He says he wants to talk a tough game on trade, but as Director McCall displayed at those press conferences, still wrapped in the package, Leo, shirts made in Bangladesh, ties made in China. Every Trump product line is made overseas to take advantage of cheap labor. Sisters and brothers, that's not somebody that'll stand up for us on trade, and we have to call BS on that. What do you think? What does he say about right to work? Do you know what he says? He's 100% for right to work. That ought to disqualify him with every working person in Ohio right there. Sisters and brothers, Donald Trump is saying things that he believes voters want to hear this election season. Every single issue that we measure how to get ahead in life and succeed, Donald Trump is on the other side. So we embarked upon that press tour to say that. And then we said, and you all need to say this for the next 49 days, how Hillary Clinton is the most qualified candidate in my lifetime to become president. You've heard it already today. When she got out of her Ivy League credentials, she could have went anywhere. What did she do? She went to the Children's Defense Fund to fight for the health and well-being and economic security of kids and working families. She went into the White House and fought for the CHIP program. She was elected to the U.S. Senate in New York. I worked and lived in Washington at that time. She could have came in, and frankly, the expectation was she was going to come in and just kind of coast and be a U.S. Senator and rest on her. She came in, sisters and brothers. She was the first person in those hearing rooms, the last ones to leave, the most prepared, and she fought for our side on CAFTA. Ask the first responders, Vice President Sanders, ask them. She fought for their health care, their injured worker benefits, on the toxins that were in the air. They weren't guaranteed to it until she fought and went and got it. She has a 94% AFL-CIO rating in the Senate. She supported the Employee Free Choice Act. Sisters and brothers, Hillary Clinton is a good and decent person because I do know her, but she also is right on our issues, and we have to make sure everybody in the state of Ohio hears that from us. Donald Trump, I forgot to mention, he wants to talk tough on China. He's violated labor law 24 times with his businesses for things like not paying overtime pay for overtime worked. Every single issue when it comes to doing the right thing to help working people, Donald Trump has simply worked to enrich himself. So, that's why we're endorsing Hillary Clinton. So, we're going to continue to make sure that that message is out there. We need you to be moving your members and volunteers. And if everybody in this hall agreed to next Saturday, you're going to walk 2 volunteer shifts at our 15 locations around the state, that would be a hell of a sign. Are you going to walk 2 volunteer shifts next Saturday, everybody in here? And if you can't walk, 2 phone shifts. So sisters and brothers, I believe this is a watershed moment. Donald Trump is unfit for the office of presidency. He'll tear the country apart, make things harder for working people. Can you imagine, and it's been said already today, Donald Trump appointing Supreme Court justices? We dodged the bullet on Friedrichs. Fair share fee was gone had that untimely, unforeseen death not happened. We dodged a bullet there. There are 24 Friedrichs cases in the pipeline, just waiting for Donald Trump to be president and appoint Supreme Court justices. Right to work's coming. We're going to take a step back so far we will never recover. My 16-year-old son will never recover if we don't get this election right. So sisters and brothers, we have got to go all in for the last 49 days of this election. We're in the third quarter. Let me suggest, let's just shut off our cable news networks, okay? Let's just shut off the TVs. Let's just shut them off. Let's get our head down, quit worrying about the polls. Although I will mention, last time, I'll do this, John. There's a new poll out. It's got Hillary Clinton up 5 points nationally. She's going to get the momentum back going into the first debate. This is our election to win. Are you with us? You look, and I was fortunate enough to go to the Democratic Convention this year. This convention, you look at the Democratic Committee, go Google it, Democratic Convention, Democratic National Committee. Look at their platform. You can go online and look at it. I looked at it, printed it out. The first 3 sections of the platform, not the first 3 pages, the first 3 sections of the platform talk about raising wages, unionization, economic matters, trade issues, all of our stuff. The first 3 sections. Sisters and brothers, we need a new deal, and that Democratic platform with Hillary Clinton and Ted Strickland represents a new deal. Will you help us make it happen? Leo, the Republican convention was down the street because they thought they could full working families in Ohio. If they hold their convention here, that's going to translate to votes. You know what their platform looked like? National right to work, get rid of Davis-Bacon and prevailing wage, take away union rights for TSA workers. What a difference. What a difference, and what a difference election makes. So we're in the third quarter. Shut the TVs off. I'm doing it as soon as I leave here. No more MSNBC, no more CNN. I'm just putting my head down. I'm volunteering for shifts. I'm going around the state asking you to do the same. Will you be with us? You're going to hear from Melissa Cropper, chair of the political committee, this afternoon. We've got to make sure that when you're out in the hallway, you're signing up for shifts. So we're in the third quarter. What I will guarantee to you today, we've got a laid out Labor 2016 program. It's been vetted and approved and shined and this, that, and the other thing. The executive committee and executive board have signed off on it. It works. It worked in 8. It worked in 12. And it works, but it takes bodies. If we hit our voter contact goals, we persuade people. If we hit our voter contact goals and our performance goals, the people in this room will determine the race in the election for the state of Ohio. If we hit those goals, we will win for Hillary Clinton and Ted Strickland in the state of Ohio. I guarantee you that. Now, we got a long way to go to hit those goals. And when we leave this convention, we got to be energized, motivated, and ready to go and fight for our workers. So, sisters and brothers, this is a watershed moment. All of the issues that we fought so hard for so long are right there for us. Hillary Clinton and Ted Strickland in the Senate, without Mitch McConnell, we can get it done. We're on the precipice of this because the American people are with us. The Republican debates, the Democratic debates, all those issues started with wages. One party has a plan that's the same old trickle-down economics that don't work. One party and their candidates seize the opportunity to understand that it's through the trade union movement and building the movement and organization that you build the middle class and you help an economy that works for all. The economy is a set of rules, and it's based on the people that we elect to office. So, sisters and brothers, we've got a lot of work to do. There's nobody I'd rather be in this fight with than the people in this hall. And I've seen it, and Leo said it, we punch above our weight. We can be 20, even 25% of the electorate. Our members, our retirees, our household members. There's 20% of that voting block I just mentioned right there, 20% are undecided in this presidential election. That's fresh polling. We've got to go out there, one person, one work site, one front door at a time, and convince those people that this election is too important to sit out. And if you vote for Jill Stein, you're voting for Donald Trump. And if you vote for Johnson, you're voting for Donald Trump. Get behind Hillary Clinton, and we're going to make this thing happen for the next 49 days. Are you with me? Sisters and brothers, I'm going to ask you one last time here. Can we say no to the politics of division, hate, and fear? Can we say no to that? No. Can we say no to lying, cheating, and stealing this election? Can we say no to that? Can we say yes to raising wages and the trade union movement and going all in for the next 49 days to elect Hillary Clinton? Can we say yes to that? Can we say yes to electing Ted Strickland? Can we say yes to your union? Can we say yes to the trade union movement? Let's go fight. Let's go win. The American people expect it of us. The world is watching. God bless you.